Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then hi, my name's Zoe. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really do hope that you decide to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every single time that I post. And like I say always, if you're a current subscriber, please just check down below that your notification bell is on, as YouTube just doesn't recommend true crime content. Today's video is another episode in my missing person series, Where Are You? I really enjoy doing missing persons cases and you guys seem to really love them as well. So I thought today we'd do another one. So before jumping into today's video, I just want to let you know that there is a disclaimer in the description box below, and if I pronounce anything wrong or get any information wrong, then please let me know in the comments below. Today we are talking about missing Ruth Wilson. Ruth Wilson was born on the 31st of January 1979 in Surrey, United Kingdom. She lived with her parents Ian and Nesta Wilson, and she also had a younger sister. Ruth didn't have the easiest starts in life, and when she was 4 years old her mother unfortunately died after falling down the stairs. This is something that would obviously affect Ruth for the rest of her life. And not long after her mother's death, her father did remarry, and he married a lady called Karen Bowerman. Ruth didn't let what happened to her as a child stop her. She actually went on to study A-levels at the Ashcombe School sixth form. She loved to read, she always had her head in a book. She had a lot of friends, and this group of friends were quite different. They were all quiet and shy and just stayed with each other. They all had a quirky sense of style. They always joked that they were not the cool kids at school, but they all enjoyed listening to music together and going on bike rides. Ruth also had a part-time job in a local music shop, and she was kind of known as a local babysitter. So this just made it clear that Ruth was very reliable and trustworthy. When Ruth was around 15 years old, she started to doubt the situation around her mother's death. She felt like something just didn't sit right with her. She felt like she was being lied to, and she was determined to get answers. She spoke to her friends and her family and people who knew her mother personally, but nothing came to light from talking to people. She didn't find out any different information, but she still had this burning sensation inside her that something was wrong, and she was right. She eventually managed to get hold of her mother's death certificate, and on this death certificate it said her mother died by suicide, whereas Ruth had believed all her life her mother simply died from an accident by falling down the stairs. This left Ruth with a lot of questions and just generally feeling uneasy about the whole situation. She didn't know why this was hidden from her. Why did nobody tell her? And the biggest question for her was, why did her mother commit suicide? After finding out the shocking news, Ruth did run away and she went to stay with one of her friends called Ben. But after a while she did change her mind and decided to return home. During this time, Ruth became very close with one of her friends called Catherine. Catherine was going through her own troubles. She was going through a tough time herself. This is kind of what made the pair's friendship grow, and they became really close. But Catherine was moving to Sheffield, and this did bother Ruth, and Ruth even asked if Catherine settled in well enough, could she come and join her? And Catherine agreed. But Catherine went ahead and moved to Sheffield, and little did she know this would be the last time she would speak to Ruth. On the 27th of November 1995, Ruth Wilson disappeared without a trace. In the week leading to her disappearance, everything was normal, nothing was out of place, and she didn't seem unhappy. She turned up for her part-time job, she attended church, and she even went out for dinner with friends. She was very relaxed. There was nothing different about Ruth. On the day of her disappearance, her father and stepmother had actually left early for work, so this meant that Ruth and her younger sister had to catch the bus to school. But for some reason, at last minute, Ruth changed her mind and decided she wasn't catching the bus. Once her sister had left for school, one of Ruth's friends actually turned up and offered Ruth a lift, but she refused and said that she would see them later at lunch. But for some reason, Ruth didn't attend school that day. At 11:30 a.m, Ruth got a taxi to Dawson. She then ordered flowers for her stepmother. She asked if they could be delivered the next day, and then she went and spent the rest of the afternoon in the library. At around 4 o'clock she left the library and got a taxi from Dawson rail station to Box Hill, and she was dropped off by the taxi driver near a pub called Hand in Hand. The taxi driver had said that Ruth's behaviour was odd. She just stood and watched the taxi leave and didn't move and didn't go anywhere, and she was stood in the rain. And this taxi driver was in fact the last person to see Ruth. Ruth was very well dressed at the time of her disappearance, and it's almost as if she was intending to get in a car with somebody else or meet somebody else. She was wearing a red knitted jumper, some black velvet trousers, she had a watch on her left wrist, and she also had a small duffel bag which she had a stereo and some tapes in it. An investigation was started very quickly. Police believed that Ruth possibly ran away, but they became more worried when the circumstances and the timing of her disappearance became clear. She had disappeared 14 days before her mother's death anniversary. Ruth had also received her school report that weekend, and she hadn't done as well as she hoped. Her grades were slipping, and this was something that she hid from her parents. And that very evening they started a search for Ruth. Police used helicopters, dogs and heat sensors to search the whole of the Box Hill area, but they didn't find anything of any significance. 2 days after her disappearance, the bunch of flowers for her stepmother actually arrived. Her father described these flowers as an expensive bunch, but there was no card with them. 4 days after going missing, police had actually got their first lead in this case. They had found some notes under a bush in Box Hill. It's believed these notes were for Ruth's family, a friend and a local boy that she had a crush on. But police never revealed what these notes said. Also, an empty box of paracetamol and half a bottle of alcohol was found nearby. But police have never actually said whether that's connected to Ruth. 5 days after her disappearance, a massive large-scale search was conducted by the police, fire and rescue. There was over 60 volunteers that searched for Ruth. Even members of the community, her family, her friends, strangers all came together and got involved in the searches. And this is again another case where the community's stance on everything and involvement is absolutely amazing, and it's something you commonly see in missing persons cases, and it's always overwhelming to see the support from the public when researching these cases. A detailed search of a quarry in Box Hill was also conducted, but nothing of any significance was ever found. The police had revealed that they didn't think a stranger was involved. They had also said there was no evidence to suggest that she was killed or committed suicide. They said one of two things happened. She either went to Box Hill to meet someone and willingly disappeared, or she went there and died in some way. Her parents did TV interviews and appeals to try and get their daughter to come home, and they had said that they believed if she ran away, she was possibly too afraid to come home. 8 months later, the police did visit Catherine in Sheffield, as Catherine was so close to Ruth. They questioned her and they even searched her wardrobe, indicating that the police possibly believed Catherine was kind of hiding Ruth there, which she wasn't. Catherine had said how Ruth had mentioned that she wanted to run away, but nobody knows how serious Ruth was. Since going missing, there has been possible sightings of Ruth. In October 1996, it's believed that she was spotted on the outskirts of London, but this hasn't been confirmed. On the year anniversary of Ruth's disappearance, it's believed that a woman was caught on CCTV in a newsagent's near Ruth's home. The person was distressed and asking for copies of the newspapers. The shop owner did notify police, and Ruth's parents do believe that this could be Ruth. In the first few weeks, there were a lot of sightings in her hometown by people who knew her personally, so this sort of makes them more credible. but the sightings have been reported as far as Canada. The police did follow up every single lead that they had, but none of them brought in any extra information. This case remains unsolved 24 years later, and the cold case team do look into this case every now and again, but police have stated they will not reopen this case until they have some sort of hard evidence or information. Ruth literally caught a cab and disappeared, whether it was of her own accord or something a little bit more sinister. We will not know more until the evidence comes to light. So that is all for today's case. If you do have any information that you need to tell anybody, as always, the information and contact details will be in the pinned comment below. I hope that you did enjoy this new missing persons case. I'm sorry, everything has tried to stop me from filming this video, from my child screaming in the background, to my laptop dying, to my camera dying, but I've finally managed to film it. So if you did enjoy this video, I'd highly appreciate it if you could give it a massive thumbs up. Make sure you have subscribed, and I shall see you in my next true crime video.